morning to everyone. I, Anjali, student of Media School, welcome you all to the Vibrant India series, episode 49. I also welcome all our viewers who are watching us on live on Facebook. Vibrant India series is an initiative of DME Media School for celebrating 75 years of India's independence. This series will be a year-long exercise. As part of this series, we invite inspiring personalities for online talk, interview, and interaction with our students. The invited personalities for this series are from all walks of life and from all parts of the country. And today, our special guest is Vandana Mahajan, cancer survivor and cancer coach. We welcome you, ma'am. I would like to take a moment and introduce Delhi Metropolitan Education to our viewers. Delhi Metropolitan Education is an A-grade premier educational institute affiliated to Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, New Delhi, and approved by the Bar Council of India. The institute offers BBA, BA LLB, and BBA LLB and BGMC programs. DME believes in imparting world-class education to its students while training them to develop and enhance their skills. This education training enables them in taking up challenges of the industry and creating a space for themselves with their competence and vigor. DME Media School is one of the most promising media institutes in the country. I offer BA, it offers BA in journalism and mass communication. It is recognized as a school focused on the growth of its faculty and students through academic and co-curricular activities. Major flagship events and initiatives of the school includes BG Varghese Lecture Series, Peer-to-Peer FDP, International Film Festival, CIFI, International Conference, ICANN, and Mritika Convention of Media Students. And newly added in the list is VIS, Vibrate India series. Now, I would like to invite Khushi to introduce our guest of the day.
Thank you, Anjali. It is a privilege to introduce to you the personality of episode 49 of the VIS. Guest of the day is a personality radiating motivation and life. Vandana Mahajan is a cancer survivor and a cancer coach associated with a Mumbai-based NGO for cancer care, Cope with Cancer, Mother Charitable Trust. She is trained in cancer, palliative and bereavement counseling with a postgraduate diploma in integrative counseling. She is a volunteer counselor at the Tata Memorial Hospital, Mumbai, and also provides psychosocial cancer counseling to patients and abroad via online platforms. She is a strong advocate for integration of palliative care in a cancer diagnosis. She believes that every family that has a cancer diagnosis should be supported emotionally. She passionately advocates for access to pain relief and EOLC for everyone who needs it. I now request the technical team to show some glimpses from her life. Joining us today. It is indeed an honor to host you. I now request Dr. Manasvi Maheshwari, Associate Professor, DME Media School, to welcome the guest.
Thank you, Khushi. Welcome everyone to the 49th episode of Vibrant India series. We launched this digital program on August 9th in 2021 on the anniversary of Quit India movement. This is an initiative of DME Media School, Delhi Metropolitan Education. Vibrant India series is an online series to get inspiration from distinguished personalities. This program has been conceptualized and created by Professor Ambrish Saxena. Vibrant India series is a tribute to all those people who have made supreme sacrifices for the independence of our motherland. India will be completing 75 years of independence this year. We started celebrations last year only. This program VIS has been launched as a part of these celebrations. And all these days, we have invited celebrities, so we have invited personalities from different segments. From Defense Forces, we invited 8 personalities till date. This includes Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, Lieutenant General Vinod Bhatia, Dr. P.K. Saxena, Professor Colonel R.K. Durgan, to name a few. We also invited people from education and sciences. Until date, we invited Professor Ujjwal Chaudhary, Dr. Nakul Parashar, a veteran promoter of science, Dr. Saurabh Ghosh, Dr. Dev Aikar. We invited people from media and journalism, Mr. Rajesh Badal, Mr. Shambhunath Shukla. They were the part of this program. While Mr. Sanjay Banerjee belongs to the broadcasting industry as commentator, Dr. Ashish Kulkarni represents the entertainment and animation industry. We also invited people from NGOs and social service. This includes Dr. Monisha Behel, who is working in the Northeast, Dr. Mridula Tandon, a medical doctor working with children, Dr. Mridula Seth, an educationist working on mental health. We also invited Ms. Bhavreen Kandhari, an environmental activist, and Padam Shri Jitendra Singh Shud. We also invited 7 personalities belonging to art, theatre, and literature. These include Dr. Satyanarayan Joshi from Indira Gandhi National Center of Arts, Mr. Arvind Gaur from Asmita Theatre Group, Mr. Lakshmi Shankar Vajpayee, an eminent poet and broadcaster, Mr. Aditya Arya, an eminent photographer and director of Museo Camera, Ms. Kanjal Suri, theatre director, author, Mr. Rajesh Kumar Singh, head of NSD, Mr. Shubham Kumar, Indian classical vocalist and music composer. 2 personalities from field of law and human rights have graced the VIS sessions. These include Professor Manoj Kumar Sinha, Director, the Indian Law Institute, and Ms. Jyotika Kalra, women rights activist and member of NHRC. 13 women have participated in 48 episodes of VIS. I've already mentioned about 6 women working in the social sector, in Air Force, 1 in human rights, theatre. I also want to make mention of Ms. Indrani Singh, a pilot, Ms. Pallavi Faujdar, an adventure motorcyclist, Ms. Sachi Soni, a mountaineer, and Saloni Sachedi, an entrepreneur in Forbes list. 3 police officers have also participated in VIS. This includes 2 former IPS officers, Mr. Amod Kant, who is known for his distinguished social service for children through his NGO Prayas, and Mr. Vibhuti Narayan Rai, who has also been a vice chancellor and is an eminent writer. Mr. Rajendra Singh, former ACP of Delhi Police and celebrated pop, has also featured in VIS. 3 senior IS officers have also graced the VIS. These include Mr. Ashok Pradhan, IS retired and Director Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Delhi, Ken, Mr. Vimal Julka, who has served as Secretary in the Information Broadcasting Ministry and Chief Information Commissioner, and Mr. DJ Narayan, who has a unique blend of bureaucracy, art, and music. Apart from this, we had Mr. S.P. Rawal, author and philanthropist, Mr. Agustin Ville, a communication specialist from UNICEF, Sufi Sayyid Ajmal Nizami, custodian of Sufi Dargah, Nizamuddin Aulia, Mr. Balendu Sharma Dadij, director of local languages and accessibility in Microsoft, Mr. Satish Saxena, an accomplished runner, mental health expert, and blogger and poet, have also participated in this. And today, in episode 49, we have with us Ms. Vandana Mahajan, who is a cancer survivor and a cancer coach. She has overcome her sufferings to enlighten the lives of others. Welcome, Vandana ji, in Vibrant India series. Welcome you all.
I now request Dr. Ambrish Saxena, Dean DME Media School, and originator and ideator of VIS, to take the program forward.
Thank you, Kushi. So, as the stage has already been set for today's episode, obviously when the whole country decided to celebrate 75 years of independence, so we also thought that we should also contribute something, we should do something in that direction. But then we never believed in DME Media School in the ceremonial things or the things which are normally done by everybody. So we thought of something which could be inspirational to students. Since we are an educational institution, so our prime responsibility is to bring all such people, all such content to the students who could be enriching them, who could be giving them some positive thoughts, and who can inspire them to do something good in their lives, which will make their lives better. And at the same time, it will be helping the society and the country to move forward. So that is how now this Vibrant India series program started. And we took really a big task that we will be holding it for a year. 1 year is almost complete, and we had decided to have 75 episodes. We have reached 49. And we believe step by step we will reach 75 as well. And when we look at this whole concept that when people for inspiration are to be invited, so it was a deliberated thought that we should invite people from all walks of life. It's not that those who have acquired the status of celebrity in India, somehow the celebrity status is, people who are accomplished in certain areas, only they are recognized as doing something. But then there are people who are working in different walks of life, but they are not given that kind of recognition. But they don't, no society can be built without the contribution of such people. So that is how, with that thought, we decided to invite diverse people, even the young people who have made a mark with their work, which is most distinguished. Like if somebody would have reached the Mount Everest, or somebody would have done some kind of shown some kind of entrepreneurship, wherein even below 30 years of age, she is in the Forbes list. So such kind of people we have been inviting, and in that series today we have Miss Vandana Mahajan with us, and her life, her story in itself is inspiring. Is that we all meet with all kind of adverse thing in our lives, but then that spirit to fight with that and to create a space not only for own survival, but to contribute to other people's life, which is really inspiring. So I welcome Vandana Mahajan ji to this program, and as the format of this program goes, after this introductory part, I will request you, Vandana ji, to narrate your own life journey. Here, this is again something distinct in this program, wherein we request the guest to himself or herself narrate his or her journey, because that's the most authentic thing that can come to the people, and also with all those challenges that you would have met, and more importantly, how did you fight with those challenges. And you can always narrate your experience, all such anecdotes which could be interesting, which could be motivating to the students. So thereafter, we will be asking you, I will be asking you certain questions based on whatever you would have spoken, and then the students will be invited to ask questions to you. So moving forward, I request you, Vandana ji, to please take this session in your hands and narrate us your own life journey.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ambrish, for this very warm welcome, and Dr. Manasvi and Kushi. I'm humbled to be a part of such a distinguished cohort. I'm really humbled. And yes, like Dr. Ambrish said, there is a conception in the world that only the ones who are the so-called celebrities should be brought forward and given a platform. I think India has so many ordinary humans like me and you who contribute to her well-being, who contribute to the strength India is today. And we need more people like you to come up and create a space. And I'll be happy to contribute, because in my life, I know so many ordinary human beings, Indian citizens who do extraordinary work. So thank you for this honor, and thank you, DME. I will start with sharing who I am. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, and I am someone who survived cancer. It's been an interesting journey. I was married. I was born into a defense family. My father fought. He's a war veteran who fought the 65 and 71 war. And I was married to, I am married to an infantryman from the Indian Army. So I think that's where I get my fighting spirit from. Khoon mein josh hai. Josh hai ki matlab himmat nahi harni. So that is the crux of my journey, that yes, it is in my blood to not give up, because I've seen my family, my father, my mother, my brother, my husband contribute towards this country. And so I will spend a little time talking about my cancer journey, and then I will talk about some takeaways and what do I do now. It's been exactly 13 years when my husband was posted somewhere in the remote areas of Northeast that I was detected with cancer. I had a rare type of thyroid cancer. And as we were in the Northeast, accessibility to medical care wasn't as much as you would find, in the urban cities. So we came down to Delhi, and investigations revealed that I had a rare kind of thyroid cancer. So the process of the treatment, surgery, everything started. So in a gist, what happened was, when my first surgery took place, after the surgery, when I tried talking, I couldn't speak. I had lost my voice. I croaked like a toad. It took me a year to find my voice back. And the doctor had told my husband, I don't know if she'll ever speak again. He always laughs. He says, the good side was, मेरे को कोई तंग करने वाला नहीं होता, and the bad side was, I couldn't accept that the diagnosis. So after my first surgery, while I was still struggling to find my voice, I had to undergo an emergency second surgery. After my second surgery took place, after 2 days of my surgery, I experienced a very rare medical condition. I went into rigor mortis. I don't know how many of you understand medical terms. Rigor mortis is what happens to a human being when they die. So the body stiffens and goes into rigor mortis. I was alive, and I started experiencing these symptoms where my body started stiffening. My eyes wouldn't close, my cheeks sunk in, my tongue rolled up. And I died. I flatlined, and here it was in Kailash Hospital. I think God has a huge role to play in our survival. My husband was, we were here in Noida, and we were to go to R&R, which is in Dholakpur, which was about 75 minutes away. We quickly got into the car, and we were at a traffic signal. When I told my husband, I don't think I'll make it. And as God would have it, I always say God has a plan. Jako Rake Saiya, I believe. Bas us signal se left pe there was Kailash Hospital. We went there. The doctor said, had it been a fraction of a second late, I would have died. I couldn't have been revived. So I flatlined, and I was revived, and we went back to the hospital. All this while, my small young daughter was also sitting with me. So she saw her mother die. And that is probably one of the most difficult things for me till now. I mean, the trauma that it would have caused her. So we went back to the hospital, and when we reached the hospital, the doctor told me that because of the surgery, some complications have happened. Or I now live with a rare condition, only 1% known cases like mine. I take about 16 pills a day, रोज की 16 गोली खाती हूँ, to see कल की सुबह. If I don't take my pills today, I'll die tomorrow. And so that's been my life story for 13 years now. Then started my cancer treatment. Thyroid cancer treatment is very different from regular chemotherapy. In thyroid cancer, they make you drink radioactive substance. I had to drink radioactive iodine to kill the thyroid cancer. And I was locked up in a room for 4 days with no human contact because I was so radioactive. My body was like the nuclear leak in a nuclear plant. My body was hazardous to even पेड़ पौधे. So I was locked up. मेरा खाना दरवाजे के बाहर छोड़ा जाता था. I had no human contact. My toilet was separate. My clothes had to be washed separately. And the ayah would come, knock on the door, leave my food outside, and she would run away. So those 4 days were probably the most difficult days of my life. I remember my daughter was young, so hum usko hospital nahi laate the. My husband would come, and we would look at each other through a little glass window. That was also for a very few moments. I still get very overwhelmed when I think of that phase. Like it's been tough, being married to an infantarian who's actually served all his life in J&K. I had brought up our daughter, and that was the first time she stayed away from me, and it's impacted her, and that is something that still bothers me a lot today. She's turned into a fine young woman who's made a niche for herself in this world, but somewhere she's always worried about her mother. And that's how my cancer journey. I don't want to spend too much time on, kya hua, kaise hua. And it's been 13 years since, and it's a struggle. Life has been full of struggles. जो मेरी जिंदगी कैंसर से पहले थी उसके बाद बिल्कुल बदल. I mean, like I said, एक दिन भी दवाई नहीं मिस कर सकती. In the last 13 years, there've been numerous incidents when I've been told cancer वापस आ गया है. Today I live with asthma. Today I live with a bone condition. जब हड्डी कभी भी टूट जाती है, चलने से टूट जाती है. So I've been forbidden to take a fall, but I still live life to the fullest. मेरी आवाज जैसे आपकी बॉडी थक जाती है, मेरी आवाज थक जाती है, but I still haven't given up talking. I conduct sessions for cancer patients. I do counseling sessions. और इतनी सारी लिस्ट है कि मैं ही थक जाऊंगी बताने में with the number of complications that I have. So what I basically want to tell you is that life में struggles सबके आते हैं. There are, I mean, everybody, you guys are very young and you've just started life. So आपको struggle से डरना नहीं चाहिए. It is your attitude towards the struggles that will decide your future. अगर मैं give up कर जाती तो शायद मेरी आवाज वापस नहीं आती. I wouldn't have been able to fulfill my purpose in life. And when we moved to Bombay, presently we are in Bombay, I actually found my niche. I found my calling in Tata Memorial Cancer Hospital. मेरे को 8-9 साल हो गए. I counsel cancer patients. I support them. I conduct sessions, and I very passionately feel that every cancer patient has to be supported. The support has to come from society. कैंसर के साथ इतना बड़ा स्टिग्मा अटैच्ड है, वो स्टिग्मा कैसे हम ब्रेक कर सकते हैं? Only when you people come up, when you people contribute towards the cause of cancer. छोटी छोटी बातें हैं. I've seen so much trauma in cancer care. Very small things like, is cancer contagious? Families, women are abandoned. Women are abandoned, kids are abandoned. उनके घर लोग नहीं आते जो रूरल इंडिया से families belong करती हैं. तो cancer is not contagious. It's very simple. I work with cancer patients, and so we need the youth to come forward and help create this awareness. जब तक हम society में ये change नहीं लाएंगे, तब तक हम cancer से जुड़ी हुई अफवाहें, the myths, we cannot bust. Until then, cancer will continue to be a death sentence. I'm sure आप लोग भी सोचते होंगे बहुत बार कि कैंसर हो गया तो मतलब इंसान का जीवन खत्म हो गया. So हमको mentally we need to create that India, that vibrant India where there is inclusivity. Cancer patients को exclude कर दिया जाता है. एक तो because of number one is pity. Here is an anecdote. Dr. Ambrish said I must share anecdotes also. So I remember मेरी जब surgery हुई तो हम जलवायु विहार में थे. बहुत सारे, there were a lot of stitches on my neck, and I was feeling very, very restricted. So I told my husband, मेरे को picture जाना है. And we went to Spice Mall, and then we met somebody known to us who looked at me and said, "Oh, Vandana, we are so sorry you've got cancer." मेरी आवाज नहीं निकलती थी, मेंढक की तरह निकलती थी. So I looked at that person and I said, kept looking at him, because to hear that was a shock for me. So I told him, "Aap afsoos kiske liye mana rahe hain? Why are you pitying me? I'm alive, and I'm fighting a battle about which you have no idea." तो उस दिन से और आज दिन तक मैं किसी को पिटी तो करने ही नहीं देती, और मैं जितनी भी कैंसर पेशेंट्स की काउंसलिंग करती हूँ उनको मैं ये बोलती हूँ, you should be proud of yourself. It's not easy to go through a disease like cancer. It's highly demanding, emotionally, physically. आपके आपके आपकी आपके जीवन को निचोड़ देता है. It takes out every little bit from you. To fight and come up and create a space yourself takes immense courage. So we've got to be proud of ourselves. It doesn't matter whether you live or die. That is what I believe. See, cancer in advanced stages can be fatal. But even then, to go through something like chemotherapy is horrendous. आप एक chemotherapy cycle से भी निकल पाते हैं ना, you are a winner. You are a survivor. You are a warrior. So be proud of yourself. And I really wish that you people and rest of the young people and change makers create that space for cancer survivors. My story is not about me being a cancer survivor. Honestly, my story is I made the choice to overcome my struggle. Choice हमारे हाथ में है. भगवान ने जब मेरे को जीवन जीने का दूसरा मौका दिया है तो मैं इसको गवाऊं क्यों? I have two options. I can keep complaining that ये क्या कर दिया भगवान ने मेरे को, क्यों दे दी इतनी बीमारी, लोगों को देखो उन्होंने तो कुछ नहीं किया. A lot of people actually say हमारे कर्म खराब थे. मैं actually सबको बोलती हूँ भैया मेरे कर्म तो बहुत अच्छे थे. मैं बहुत lucky हूँ that I've been born to such wonderful parents. I have a wonderful husband. My daughter is an angel. मेरे भाई बहन, मेरे in-laws. So मेरे कर्म तो बुरे हो ही नहीं सकते. And also my dog. My dog is my strength. तो मेरे कर्म तो खराब हो नहीं सकते. तो कर्म को कोसना तो बहुत ही बुरी बात है. तो आप लोगों को भी जिंदगी में बड़े हर्डल्स आएंगे. तो गिव अप नहीं करना कि भैया ये तो हमारी जिंदगी में लिखा है. कुछ नहीं लिखा है. वो लिखा है जो आप चाहेंगे. भगवान ने हमें चॉइस दी, मेरे को चॉइस दी. मैं कोने पे बैठ के रोती रहूं, जिंदगी को गवा दूं, और दूसरी चॉइस दी, जितने मेरे स्ट्रगल्स हैं उनको एक्सेप्ट करके जिंदगी में अपना नाम बना सकूं. मैंने दूसरा ऑप्शन सिलेक्ट किया कि क्यों रोने से क्या होगा. अगर मैंने 50 साल जीना है, 60 साल जीना है, वो जीऊंगी. Because I've had about 3 near-death experiences. I've been in a car crash also, which when turtle thrives. सिर्फ एक हड्डी टूटी थी, रिब केज की. तो मैं ये मानती हूँ कि अगर भगवान ने आपको जीवन दिया है, उसका पूरा फायदा उठाना चाहिए. And Saima knows I live life king size. अभी भी 15 दिन पहले I had to undergo another cancer scare. पूरा फिर से बोला कैंसर वापस आ गया है, स्कैन्स हुआ, अल्टीमेटली वो पैर की हड्डी टूटी है. So people ask me क्यों कैसे कोप अप करते हो? So I tell them I look at the positive side. कैंसर नहीं है ना, सिर्फ हड्डी टूटी है. हड्डी तो 6 हफ्ते में ठीक हो जाएगी. So a lot of it depends on our attitude towards our hurdles. कोई ऐसा नहीं है जिसकी जिंदगी में कठिनाइयां नहीं आती. फिर से मैं बोलती हूँ, आप सब बच्चे हो, यू आर द यंग जनरेशन. अगर आपको लगता है भगवान बना के आपकी जिंदगी भेजेंगे, बिल्कुल गलत लगता है. मैंने कभी नहीं सोचा था कि I was in a very happy space. I had everything going for me. फिर ये हो गया. तो भगवान हमें किस मोड पे क्या प्रॉब्लम दे देता है हम नहीं बोल सकते. That is our destiny. But उस डेस्टिनी को कैसे चेंज करना है, उस डेस्टिनी को, उस हर्डल को कैसे रिस्पॉन्ड करना है, वो हमारे हाथ में देता है. आई एम अ फर्म बिलीवर दैट ऊपर इन स्पिरिचुअलिटी कि ऊपर कोई बैठा है, वो आपकी वो देखता है आपका. गॉड हेल्प्स दोस हु हेल्प देमसेल्व्स. सो वो आपका रिस्पॉन्स भी देखता है. जिस तरह आप एक हर्डल, एक सिचुएशन को रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं, आपके लिए आगे का रास्ता वैसे ही खुल जाता है. So that is how I work, and that is what I live by. As I'm getting older, life is not getting better. The complications are increasing. I'm on opioids for pain. मेरे को रात को नींद नहीं आती थी, so opioid लेना पड़ता है. लेकिन फिर भी मैं जिंदगी में पूरे काम करती हूँ, सीढ़ियाँ चढ़ती हूँ, दौड़ती हूँ, भागती हूँ, सब कुछ करती हूँ. और कुछ चीजें जो मैंने अपनी लाइफ से सीखी हैं, जो होना है आप उसको टाल नहीं सकते, बिल्कुल नहीं टाल सकते. लेकिन जो हुआ है उसके साथ कैसे डील करना है वो आपके हाथ में है. दूसरा, पास्ट में जाके मत रीजंस ढूंढिए. There is no coming, there you will get no answers from your past. अगर आज आप यहाँ पे हैं, ये सोचते हैं डॉक्टर क्यों नहीं बन पाए या कुछ और क्यों नहीं बन पाए, भाई उसका कोई आंसर नहीं है. आज यहाँ पे हैं, आज आपके पास इतना वंडरफुल प्लेटफॉर्म है, इसके साथ आगे आप क्या करें. और आगे भी आज से 5 साल बाद क्या होना है वो भी हमें नहीं पता. तो जो आज का दिन है ना, मेक द मोस्ट ऑफ इट, enjoy it to the hilt, because as they say, past is history, future is a mystery, and present is actually a gift. So आज आप इतने wonderful association के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं with such distinguished professors as your teachers. Make the most of this. खूब enjoy कीजिए. और ना काम को don't procrastinate. आपकी एज में जो प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन होता है ना, नहीं नहीं कल कर लेंगे, वो बिल्कुल गलत है. आज का समय आपको दिया है, तो आज ही करना चाहिए. साइमा ने मेरे को रीच आउट किया तो मैंने साइमा को बोला, साइमा पता नहीं आज कर पाऊंगी या नहीं. Then I said, this is an opportunity for me to reach out to young minds. Why should I let go? So I said, whatever, even if connectivity खराब होगी, मैं बाहर रास्ते में कर लूंगी बात, but I will make the most of it. So same चीज आपको भी apply करती है, that do not procrastinate. It is will do you no good. आज का फायदा उठाइए, कल की तैयारी कीजिए. कल आपके लिए वही होगा जो आज आपने किया है. So let go of your past, look forward to the future while concentrating on your present. ये एक चीज मैंने सीखी. दूसरा, I'm very passionate about palliative care. India में palliative care के बारे में I think probably very some point percentages knowledge hai. And as I work with cancer in the field of cancer, I realize हमारे patients और caregivers बहुत suffer करते हैं. India is very proud to have some very accomplished oncologists. I've had the privilege of working with the best Tata Memorial Hospital में, but somewhere एक lacuna है जो fulfill नहीं हो पाता between doctor's consultation and patient care. जो patient care है वो doctor तक नहीं limited है. Patient care आगे भी extend करती है. For example, जैसे मेरा था, when I went through so much, I was not given any kind of emotional support. मेरी daughter के लिए भी किसी ने emotional support नहीं दिया. My husband being in the defense, मतलब है वो he man है, लेकिन वो भी तो इंसान है ना. किसी ने उनको ये नहीं बोला कि बैठ के बात करते हैं, your wife is going through so much. मेरे पेरेंट्स को कोई नहीं था. So I think बहुत जरूरी है हम collectively ऐसा इकोसिस्टम क्रिएट करें जहाँ पे कोई भी कैंसर से अफेक्टेड फैमिली कभी भी they don't feel abandoned. सब कोई मेरे जैसे स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं हो सकता, बहुत रेयर है. I think percentages में है. I've seen families struggle. Cure होने के बाद भी I've seen families and patients go into depression. क्योंकि कैंसर एक ऐसी बीमारी है जो फिजिकली एग्जॉस्ट नहीं करती, फाइनेंशियली भी एग्जॉस्ट करती. जो गरीब लोग होते हैं, जो who come from financially vulnerable strata of the society, उनका तो सब कुछ खत्म हो जाता है. तो उनको सपोर्ट देना, the government also has to come forward to create more schemes. अभी बहुत सारी हैं, लेकिन और करना पड़ेगा क्योंकि इंडिया की पॉपुलेशन इतनी वास्ट है और कैंसर एक एपिडेमिक की तरह फैल रहा है. सो पैलिएटिव केयर का मतलब जो है एंड ऑफ लाइफ केयर, उससे हमको एक, जैसे हम बोलते हैं पैलिएटिव केयर, लोग सोचते हैं इंसान मरने वाला है, वो मिथ है. तो मैं कोशिश करती हूँ अपने टॉक से, फ्रॉम माय काउंसलिंग, टू बस्ट दैट मिथ दैट पैलिएटिव केयर का मतलब है एक होलिस्टिक सपोर्ट देना. So another thing that I'm very, very passionate about is India does not care for its dying. If somebody is dying, that person is a human being. How can we not care for that human? If somebody is dying, हमको बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है उसको और प्यार देने. हम छोड़ देते हैं उसको. हमारे हॉस्पिटल्स में there is no facility of end of life care. इंडिया में हॉस्पिसेस बहुत कम है. I think जो जी रहा है उसको तो सहारे की जरूरत होती है, लेकिन आप सोचिए somebody who's 20 years old who's dying, do we leave that person कि भी ये तो मरने वाला है? No, I counsel so many young people and of course elderly also. I ensure that I'm with them till their last day. उनको वही चाहिए. They don't want to feel abandoned. So हमको again, as a society, we have to create that the ecosystem where we care for our life. How can we live? हम कैसे छोड़ सकते हैं? हमारी फैमिली में कुछ होता है तो हम उनके आगे पीछे लगे रहते हैं. Not everyone is as privileged as you and I. Honestly, India is not you and I. India is जो गांव में आप जाके देखिए, जो एक स्ट्रगल करता है 50 रुपए का खाना खाने के लिए, तो क्या उसकी फैमिली में जब ऐसा होता है हम नहीं दे सकते, हम सपोर्ट नहीं कर सकते. एंड व्हाई कांट एंड ऑफ लाइफ केयर बी फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट? यहाँ पे बट पेशेंट इज एट द वर्ज ऑफ डाइंग, फिर भी पैसे देने पड़ते हैं टू गेट बेसिक बेसिक हेल्प. व्हाई कैन इंडिया बी दैट मैग्नानिमस एंड क्रिएट? बहुत है इंडिया के पास देने, लेकिन करेक्ट कॉजेस के लिए नहीं जाता. एंड in my little way, I am trying to contribute and I am trying to raise awareness with you people also. मैं स्कूल के बच्चों से भी बात करती हूँ कि जो empathy है ना, उसको प्लीज आगे आने दीजिए. जो आपका कंपैशन है, that will make a difference. चाहे आप एक की हेल्प करें, अगर कोई एम्स के बाहर खड़ा है उससे जाके पूछ लीजिए नींबू पानी पियेंगे, एक ग्लास नींबू पानी का ला दीजिए, उसके लिए वही बहुत बड़ी बात हो जाएगी. सो अगर आप छोटे छोटे सोशल ग्रुप्स क्रिएट कर सकते हैं, वॉलंटियर कर सकते हैं, तो यू विल लर्न सो मच अबाउट लाइफ. लाइफ बहुत बहुत अमेजिंग है विद इट्स अप्स एंड डाउन्स. तो अगर आपकी कंट्रीब्यूशन हो, सो मे बी देयर विल बी अ टाइम जब इंडिया में एटलीस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ कैंसर द सफरिंग कम्स डाउन. सो मैं एक पेशेंट एडवोकेट भी हूँ. मैं अब कुछ चीज द पीपल हु नो मी दे टेल मी तू तेरे को कीड़ा है, तू छोड़ती नहीं है, चाहे मैं एक इंसान के लिए हेल्प करूं. मैं इतनी कोशिश करती हूँ कि मैं उसके लिए मैक्सिमम जो हो सकता है वो कर पाऊं. तो आपको भी करनी चाहिए, क्योंकि हम इकट्ठे मिलेंगे. देयर इज स्ट्रेंथ इन टुगेदरनेस. देयर इज स्ट्रेंथ इन टुगेदरनेस. अकेले इंडिविजुअली कोई काम नहीं कर सकता. So today, if I am who I am, it is only because of the disease. मैं कोसती नहीं हूँ, मैं गालियां नहीं देती, मैं रिग्रेट भी नहीं करती है भगवान मेरे को इतना क्यों हो गया है. मेरे को कहीं जाने से पहले एक मेडिसिन का डब्बा साथ लेके जाना पड़ता है. इंटरनेशनल ट्रैवल करती हूँ तो डॉक्टर से परमिशन लेनी पड़ती है कि 300 पिल्स लेके जा सकती हूँ, कहीं स्मगलिंग तो नहीं कर रही हूँ. तो बट I still feel life is so beautiful. Life is so beautiful. और मैंने अपने struggles को I've made it my success. वो आपके हाथ में है, बिल्कुल आपके हाथ में है कि आप अपने आप को कैसा परसीव करते हैं. साइमन ये बहुत बार सुना है, लोग अपने आप को कोसते हैं, मैं ये बोलती हूँ मैं अपनी फेवरेट हूँ. वेरी सिंपल. भैया मैं अपनी फेवरेट हूँ and the onus lies on me. I also invest a lot on self-care, on mental health. आप लोग young हैं, आप लोगों की struggles बहुत ज़्यादा हैं because now the world is so competitive. लेकिन उन struggles में please ये मत भूल जाइए कि आपको अपना ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा. I have the most supportive family. I'm very lucky. But मैं ये expect नहीं कर सकती कि वो अपना काम छोड़ के सारी जिंदगी मेरे लिए dedicate करती. So मैंने अपने लिए मैं ये मानती हूँ जिंदगी भगवान की एक नेमत है. इट इज अ ब्लेसिंग ऑफ गॉड. और अगर उसने ये ब्लेसिंग दी है तो मेरे को अपना ध्यान खुद रखना है, नॉट बी डिपेंडेंट ऑन अदर्स. जब जितना मैं इन्वेस्ट कर सकती हूँ अपने सेल्फ केयर में, उतना मैंने ये देखा है that I've become a better human being. And also mental health. I am a trained mental health therapist. Mental health is rarely spoken about, and young people तो बिल्कुल ही आगे नहीं आते. पता नहीं कुछ stigma है. I went through a very bad phase. तब मैंने अपने आप ही decision लिया that I need to see a mental health therapist. मेरे को किसी ने नहीं बोला. Why should I suffer? Why should anyone suffer because of mental health? Mental struggles are real. वो एक कैंसर की बीमारी की तरह एक real बीमारी है. मैं खुद गई psychiatrist के पास 2 साल medication ली, and I am in such a better space today. So अपना care, please own up for your body, for your own existence. While the support of the family is there, आपको अपनी जिंदगी की reins अपने हाथ में लेनी है, तभी आपकी जिंदगी आगे बढ़ सकती है. So these are few things that I am passionate about and I feel very strongly about, and that is what defines me, and that's all that I have to say.
Thank you, Vandana ji, for narrating your journey in such words, which I believe this session we plan for students, and they are there in majority, obviously, but teachers are also there. And I can tell about myself, it's so inspiring. It's not about and not about disease, as you said, but it's about your own identity. And whatever you do in society, which I said initially as well, important is that we work on our growth, on ourselves, as you said just now, and then also what all we can do for others. That's equally important to create a really healthy society. So you said so many things, and I believe whatever anybody could ask, you have answered that all. But one thing I would like to point out with regard to awareness, as far as the caregivers is concerned, or giving either financial help or other kind of information or emotional support, all that you talked about. But talking about one very basic thing about awareness, about cancer in particular, and then about other diseases, what we find in our whole education system, in schooling or in college, people hardly know about cancer or any such diseases. So what do you feel, what all can be done to create awareness about the disease, wherein everybody knows? Because if you know, then obviously a lot of precautions, or when early diagnosis, early things can happen. So what all can be done in this area?
Thank you for that question, Dr. Saxena. बहुत जरूरी है that we create awareness about that disease. अब आप हिंदी movies को देख लीजिए. Look at Hindi movies. If somebody has to die, the diagnosis is cancer. If there's a story written, if somebody's mother has to die or somebody's girlfriend has to die, it's because of cancer. We need to stop, nip it in the bud. We need to stop encouraging such movies. Bollywood is a great influencer. And very recently, I was in a conversation with Mr. Amol Gupte, जिन्होंने तारे ज़मीं पे बनाई है. He said, I am going to take up that onus of creating something which is busting this myth. So एक तो वो problem है. दूसरा, Dr. Saxena, I strongly feel we need to call people within campuses. And I'll be more than happy. I'm shifting to Greater Noida, and if I can contribute, I'll be more than happy. We need to create an interactive environment where, with somebody who has experience of cancer, they can answer questions from the people, generally for something like breast cancer, Dr. Saxena. Actually, we emphasize on breast self-examination from the age of 20. But ये पता ही नहीं है. I'm sure यहाँ पे जो काफी ladies हैं, young girls हैं, I'm sure they're not even aware of this, because breast cancer एक epidemic की तरह फैल रहा है. So we need to create more platforms, interactive platforms. कि cancer क्या है? What are the stigmas attached to it? How can we bust those myths? And for that, it can happen only when, as a society, we come together. That is one thing, and I think it has to start from educational institutions. जब हम बच्चों की change बदलेंगे, तब as an adult, वो अपने बच्चों की change बदल सकते हैं. So which is not happening in our country. And I know so many oncologists who are contributing towards this. And एक चीज मैं और भी बोलना चाहती हूँ through this platform. Cancer care is not only about an oncologist. कैंसर केयर में बहुत सारे रोल प्लेयर्स होते हैं, बहुत सारे स्टेक होल्डर्स होते हैं. जब तक हम सबको इकट्ठा नहीं लाएंगे and recognize the importance of everyone. For example, even an NGO जो एक poor patient को support करता है financially. So there are a lot of stakeholders and we need to create awareness कि cancer care is possible only if we know who all are the stakeholders.
Okay, so regarding the other thing that you said with regard to showing empathy or taking care of the people who are suffering, and obviously at the society level, we all need to do something, whatever is there in whichever capacity. But I will ask you two things here. One, how this kind of help can be provided through self-help groups or by constituting some organization, and what do you feel? What more can be done in that in this area? And also, this is one area wherein the government help and government intervention is also required in a big way. So what all you feel more can be done at the societal level, and what all should be done, more should be done by the government at the policy making? If you can tell something about this.
Again, Dr. Saxena, that's a very, very good question. एक तो India में hospices बहुत कम है. We need to, come together and create more hospices. Hospice is not a place where people go to die. It is a place where the die learn to live. Right? एक तो वो notion हमको बदलना है कि while the dying know, we are providing them with a good death, and also with the knowledge that they are dying, we give them a space to live. Right? Dusra, we need to raise more awareness among the youth about creating such spaces. And also third, like Delhi में एक बहुत ही beautiful जगह है called the Shanti Abedna, which takes care of the dying. We should have young people go there and volunteer. ऐसी जगह कोई जाना नहीं चाहता, Dr. Saxena. A lot of people ask me, आप ऐसी field में, depressing field में काम कैसे करते हो? So I tell them it is not depressing for me. It gives the kind of love that I get from there is amazing. Is amazing, Dr. Saxena. I mean, very recently, एक साल पहले, एक 3-year-old baby, died because of cancer. और मेरी उसके साथ जो interaction रही है, it's been an amazing interaction. उसके parents के साथ अभी भी मैं in touch हूँ. So I was able to send her to a hospice where she died a very peaceful death. तो हमको इकट्ठे मिलके maybe एक directory बनानी पड़ेगी अगर कोई ऐसा होता है. We have to create a network. जो suppose आपके कोई student के पास ऐसी info आती है तो उसको पता होना चाहिए किससे connect करना है. And that network, that link has to be created so that we can help a person going through that struggle. Or empathy, I think empathy जो आप बात कर रहे थे, empathy हर एक इंसान में होती है. There's a difference between sympathy and empathy. So I think we need to talk to young people more about that difference, because abhi they are into their formative years, and if we can talk about it, I'm sure वो difference उनको खुद समझ में आएगा.
जी, thank you so much for answering my questions and to giving you more insight to everybody's benefit. Now we move to the last segment of the program, and I will request the students to ask their questions. So Kalidas, Abhishek Bajaj, Sajal Mishra, Khushi, you start with your question if you want to ask.
So my question to you is, what is palliative care for a layman, and what is the right time to introduce palliative care?
Okay, that's a very, very interesting question, Khushi. Like I said, palliative care is not end-of-life care, which is the biggest misconception in our country. Palliative care is, in a cancer diagnosis, should happen at the time of diagnosis, irrespective of whether the treatment is intended towards curing the patient or supporting the patient, right? So इसमें भी क्या होता है, Khushi, if it's an early diagnosis, we call, for me, it was a curative intent. जिसका late diagnosis होता है, उसको हम बोलते हैं palliative intent. And कई बार क्या होता है, जो curative intent वाले होते हैं, Khushi, they progress into palliative. So right when the cancer is diagnosed, whether it's stage 0 or stage 4, palliative care should be introduced. Now, what is palliative care? For example, for myself, I'll give you my example, or kisi ka kya dena hai. When I was diagnosed with cancer diagnosis ke baad, there should have been a cancer counselor like me to be brought on board, right? Pre-counseling is very important. What is it going to be? See, doctor ke paas itna time nahi hota, Khushi. And one doctor, a lot of oncologists say, we are not trained to provide emotional support. That's a different area altogether. So we need to have a cancer counselor on board. I was lucky that हम financially secure हैं by God's grace. बहुत सारे patients ऐसे होते हैं जिनके पास पैसे नहीं होते. So a social worker comes in. The medical social work department comes in to tell them about various schemes. Government की जैसे Prime Minister fund होता है, Chief Minister fund होता है, आयुष्मान भारत fund है. So make them aware कि आपके पास पैसा आ सकता है. Third is, when cancer progresses, sometimes there is cancer pain is supposed to be the most difficult pain known. So we need a pain specialist also to be a part of it. Fourth is, for example, when I lost my voice, I wasn't referred to a speech therapist. So they are called occupational therapists. So there are physiotherapists, similarly. So it's a very vast field. That is why I said cancer care, एक इंसान की बस की बात नहीं है oncologist की. They have to be stakeholders who come together, and that is what palliative care is.
Moving on, Kalidas, you want to ask question?
Ma'am, I wanted to ask, like for instance, just a second. I wanted to ask that, like for when a person is going through cancer, and his mental health needs to be at a state that it should be positive and affirmative, and his mental health is all dependent on the family aspect as well, because he's surrounded with his family. So what would be your professional opinion for the families who have these warriors in their home, or like the people who are suffering from cancer? How should they treat and interact with them?
So I lost your voice in between. So what I've understood, Kalidas, is you are asking how should a caregiver interact with the cancer patient? Is that correct?
No, he was talking about the family support and all. Kalidas, is it so?
Yes, I was talking about the family support. How, like, my question was that how, like, if a patient is going through cancer and his mental health would be also at a devastating state, right? So to make it more positive and affirmative, family plays an important role because they are in the nearest proximity. So what should be the approach of a family member for the patient, and how should family interact? Yeah.
Right. Thanks for the question, Kalidas. Well, it's a very nice question. Generally, क्या होता है? Patient is fearful of expressing their insecurities. कि मेरे family members डर जाएंगे. They're going through so much, and the caregivers don't want to talk about it, thinking कि कहीं patient को बुरा ना लग जाए. So first of all, you have to, like I said, counseling is very important. So the caregiver has to meet a counselor to be told that these are the symptoms of distress. Okay? बात नहीं करना, depression में रहना, खाना नहीं खाना. So caregiver has to be aware कि ये symptoms हैं. जब वो symptoms होते हैं, then the caregiver should walk up to the family member and say, is something bothering you? Can I be of help? Right? If your loved one says, no, मेरे को कुछ नहीं है, मैं बिल्कुल ठीक हूँ, मैं आपको परेशान नहीं करना चाहती, then the caregiver has to have that communication network with the oncologist and say, I think my loved one is going through a lot of emotional distress. And that is when the oncologist will get a counselor, right? So that is one way of dealing with it. Dusra, caregiver also needs to take care of himself or herself, which is very important. जब तक आप एक safe mental space में नहीं होंगे, you will not be able to help your loved one. क्योंकि जो caregiving की responsibility होती है, Kalidas, that's huge. And we rarely speak about caregivers. It's only the patient. We rarely speak about the trauma that a caregiver goes through. So caregiver also should see a psychologist or a counselor. And when the caregiver is in an emotionally safe space, only then he can help his loved one. Otherwise, it is like, dubti naiya mein baithna. You are trying to save your loved one, but you are also sinking. I
Right.
hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yeah. It was really good. Abhishek, you want to ask question?
Yes, sir. Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, my question is about like you are helping so many people. So मैम जब आपके साथ भी ऐसी चीज हुई तो मैम आपको क्या चीज काफी लोग जो है आपको सजेस्ट करते हैं, आपको मोटिवेट करते हैं, और कई बार ऐसी सिचुएशन आती है कि बंदा बहुत हेजिटेट करता है सामने शेयर करने में भी, तो मैम आपने उस चीज को कैसे फेस करा और आपने आगे वाले लोगों को कैसे आप मोटिवेट करना चाहेंगे इस बारे में?
Very nice question, Abhishek. जब हम, when I was going through the treatment, इतना time ही नहीं था to be able to express. All I wanted to do was be brave. I thought being brave was the best thing to do because I wanted to be brave for my daughter, for my husband, for my parents, my mother, my brother, sister. And that is the notion created by the society, that you have to be brave. And in being brave, what happened was I was inflicting emotional trauma on myself because there were certain days when I felt very broken. I felt very broken, and that was the time when I needed that support. Lekin एक societal, it's, I would say, a societal pressure itna hai on a cancer survivor to be a hero. Those 5 saal ke baad, when 6 years, after 6 years, when I was put into remission, then I sat myself down and realized in wanting to be a hero, मैं अपने आप को ज़्यादा harm कर रही हूँ. And तब मैंने एक decision लिया that I need to vocalize my struggles. और मैंने फिर ऐसे forums में आना शुरू कर दिया. मैंने today I don't claim to be a hero at all, Abhishek. I say I'm a human being. Some days I have very bad days when I want to cry कि भगवान ये सब क्यों हो रहा है. And that is absolutely okay. And I also want the society to recognize while, I have survived a very difficult disease, I'm human. और एक human being कमजोर भी हो सकता है. तो that is how I dealt with it. And I also told people, don't stop calling me hero. Let me be Vandana, who's been through a tough space. And that was my coping mechanism. Different people have different coping mechanism. There are some you will see, Abhishek, who don't want to talk about the disease. I've approached so many कि आप, will you like to talk about it? They say no. बात करने से भी cancer वापस आ जाएगा. That they're superstitious. I know of parents जो अपने बच्चों को बिल्कुल अगर हुआ है बताना नहीं चाहते at the time of marriage also कि इनको cancer हुआ है. And caregivers also, sometimes caregivers, if they lose their loved one to cancer, some will contribute, some will shut themselves off. So there is no manual on how to deal with cancer. अपना perspective hai, and I think each one is fair because it is a very difficult disease, Abhishek, like I said, and it is a lifelong sentence because no doctor will tell you कि भैया आज के बाद तुम कभी बीमारी नहीं आएगी. 13 साल में I've gone through so many scares. So it is like a sword on your neck that it may come back, it may never come back. So each one of us has a different way of coping, and we need people like you to support us without being judgmental.
Right. Sajan Mishra, you want to ask a question?
Hi, ma'am. It was really inspirational how you lived your life and you just motivated us so well. So I wanted to know, do you have any experience, any incident or a story as you have touched many people's life for the better? So do you have any incident related to that while counseling people?
Yes, many Sajal. Not one Sajal, many. So you would want to know about an inspirational person like this. Okay, there's a young girl, I'm not going to take names. only 21 who was diagnosed with one very, very rare kind of lung cancer. Lung cancer is supposed to be a cancer which cannot be cured. That girl went through the most difficult chemotherapy regime known, Sajal. I mean, she's young like all of you. She lost her hair. She lost her mother to cancer when she was just 15 years old. And I have seen the father and the daughter struggle, right? And I have seen them be positive. I get gooseflesh when I talk of that. It is very dear to me. She was an year of extreme difficulty, but never did she say, why me? Okay. And after a year, she was okay for a year, then the disease came back. She just completed her chemo again, a very difficult chemotherapy. But that father-daughter duo, my God, I mean, just so much positivity around them. And it's amazing that at a young age, she tells me that when लोग बॉम्बे आते हैं वड़ा पाव खाने के लिए, फिल्म इंडस्ट्री को देखने के लिए, और मेरे को भगवान ने भेज दिया कैंसर के ट्रीटमेंट के लिए. But then she says, I made up my mind that if I'm here, it is for a reason, and I'm going to overcome this. Today, she's completed her engineering. She's doing online work, and I hope God keeps her very safe. That is one. And I have so many. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Thank you, Vandana ji, for telling us this. All everybody is overwhelmed and everybody has got inspiration. I believe that we all of us need to do something within our capacities, within our roles, whatever we can do to create awareness or to provide care to all such people who need our care. So with this, we move towards the end of this program. I will request Dr. Susmita Bala, if she is there, if she is head of media school, if she wants to make an intervention. And Saima Parvez, she is also there if she wants.
Yes, Saima wanted to ask something. Saima, you can unmute yourself, Saima.
I just wanted to add something, I think, which is for it's an information for everybody. I'm associated with an NGO called Cope with Cancer. It's Mumbai-based NGO. And one of the things that we do is we give out free wigs. Loss of hair after chemotherapy is very traumatic, especially to women and children. So we are giving out free wigs to patients pan-India. Anyone can go on to our website, fill up a form, and we will courier the wigs to their place of residence. And not a single penny is charged for this. So please spread this word, because sometimes it's not the disease that breaks you. A lot of women struggle with body image issues, loss of a breast, loss of hair, and a lot of other things. So I think we can use this platform to spread this information. It changes lives for so many. And also I want to narrate one incident. So there was this young mother who had a 3-year-old baby who she went through chemotherapy. The mother, she lost her hair. She reached out to us saying, my child doesn't come to me. She was more broken because of that, because she lost her hair. And when we gave her a wig, her message to our NGO was, today my child is sitting in my lap. And that makes the mother so happy. And that's all she needs to get better, a baby with her. So these small things make a lot of difference.
Right. Thank you for providing this add-on thing. Dr. Susmita Bala, you want to say something?
Yes, I want to say very nice session, Vandana Mahajan ji. जिस तरह से आपने एक्सप्लेन किया सारी चीजों को, आई थिंक काफी स्टूडेंट्स इससे मोटिवेट हुए होंगे और उनको कहीं भी कोई इस तरह की प्रॉब्लम है या कैंसर पेशेंट्स हैं, उनको हमें ऑब्वियसली हेल्प करना चाहिए जिस लेवल पे. बेसिकली हमें उन्हें मेंटली उनको थोड़ा सपोर्ट करना इम्पोर्टेंट है, नॉट ओनली कि उनकी प्रॉब्लम है, जैसा आपने कहा व्हाई मी, दिस इज वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट, व्हाई मी. अगर ये लोग इस चीज को सोचने लगते हैं और उनको ये चीज उनके दिमाग से हटाई जाए कि आप ये मत सोचिए, बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे हैं जिनको बहुत तरीके की प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं और गॉड है ऊपर आपको सेव करने वाला, क्योंकि डॉक्टर्स हेल्प करते हैं जमीन पर, बट ही इज helping hand for us. So thanks for this session.
So moving on, Saima, you want to add something?
Thank you so much, Vandana ma'am. It was a beautiful session of yours as always. You are an inspiration and motivation for so many. And taking what you said forward, I would just like to add that yesterday I was talking to somebody, a caregiver, and he spoke to me, and baat karne ke baad 5 minute baad he broke down. He started crying and he said, and I couldn't, मैंने कोई help नहीं करी, I was not in a capacity to help him in any form. And he said, मुझसे आज तक इतने, जब से कैंसर डायग्नोसिस हुआ है, इतने प्यार से किसी ने बात ही नहीं करी, आपने जितने प्यार से बात करी. तो I was like, I have not, मैं आपको कुछ कर नहीं पाई, आपकी हेल्प करा, आपने जो कर दिया ना वो आप भी नहीं जानती. So this is for all the students and everybody who's listening कि आप सिर्फ अगर प्यार से बात भी कर देंगे तो you don't know आप उसकी कितनी परेशानी दूर कर रहे हैं. So it has huge impact, and I would like to, like ma'am said, कि एक दूसरे की caregiver और cancer patient एक दूसरे की हिम्मत बनते हैं. So this is a photograph of my mother. If you can see closely, there is a wheelchair over there and with a pot. And look at her with hair आगे and sitting and posing. As I came down, she said, अरे अरे बंद करो साइमा आ गई, अब वो मुझे डांटेगी. And I was like, मम्मी ये क्या कर रहे हो आप? अरे मैं फोटो सेशन करवा रही हूँ अपना, तुम्हें क्या प्रॉब्लम है? तो मेरी हिम्मत मेरी माँ थी. So it was the other way around. So my हिम्मत was coming and my motivation was coming from my mother. And जैसे आपने बोला, कोई एक रीजन होना चाहिए लड़ने के लिए. आपकी रीजन आपकी बेटी है, मेरी माँ की रीजन मैं थी. तो and ma'am, I want to ask this question कि जब भी I reach out to people या मैं कुछ बोलती हूँ तो उनको प्रवचन लगता है. Till the time I tell them कि I have gone through this, I have lost my parents to cancer, then they start taking me seriously, and then they are like, हाँ अब तो इसकी बात सुनेंगे because she has gone through it. So not everybody has to go through it to show empathy, right? So how do we change this perspective, or what should we do to change this perspective of people?
Saima, this is a hurdle that we face in our society, I think all over. I'll tell you the reason for this is, Saima, empathy is when you can walk in somebody else's shoes and feel their pain, right? Not all are capable of doing that. So that is why it is very important that जैसे आपकी life story है, आज आपने मेरे को बुलाया, to get people who experience the disease, not necessarily as a patient, as a caregiver also, to share their struggles. Generally, अगर आप, मैंने देखा है, अगर आप किसी डॉक्टर को बुला देते हैं, डॉक्टर की बातें प्रवचन ही लगती हैं, वो एक लेक्चर लगता है. बट जब तक किसी ने सहा नहीं है, उसको नहीं आगे बुलाएंगे, तब तक वो प्रॉब्लम रहेगी, साइमा. एंड विच इज ऑल्सो फेयर, बिकॉज आप नहीं समझ सकते कि इस बीमारी के साथ कितनी स्ट्रगल्स आती है. सो दैट इज माई, that's what I think is the reason कि a person not affected by cancer has a different take. वो बोलते हैं life blessing है, और person जिसको cancer हुआ बोलता है भाई blessing दिखाओ कहाँ पे है, but I will find my own way to deal with it.
Absolutely.
So moving on now towards the end of the program. So Vandana ji, thank you so much for sparing so much time, and obviously texting you for more than an hour, providing all such stories, all such information to the people, which is usable, which is motivating. And as I do normally in all the programs, I note down the important points for my sake. And then to also to find where more elaborations can be requested to the guests. And normally I write 1 page or 2 pages. Today I have filled up 4 pages. And I have written all those quotable quotes which are so inspirational for everybody, whether you are suffering from cancer or not suffering. But these are the things which any positive person should keep in mind. The kind of positivity which you talked about and which you tried to spread, that's really the takeaway of this session. Because if we are positive and looking at the life positively, then we can make life better with whatever struggles we have, and we can also help to make others' life better, which is necessary for creating a better society. So thank you all for all that you have done, that you have contributed in this session. Thank you so much, and thank you for all the participants, to all the students who have been there and who really ask very pertinent questions. And I hope that this bond with you, I mean, since you yourself offered that, and we accept that, and once you are settled in Greater Noida, then we will be making use of more of your services to create this awareness to more people, so that whatever can be done as far as, I mean, the awareness is concerned, because that is where the educational institutions role comes in, as you yourself pointed out that. So we will try to do our bit that way. Thank you, Vandana ji. Thank you, everybody.
The first impression that comes to our mind about any college: tall buildings, big classrooms, large lobby areas, thick books, IT labs, assignments, class tests, and projects. Nothing besides that. Every hour, minute, second spent here help us carving and shaping our persona, cultivating innovative mindsets for the challenging world. Learning is a lifelong process. Sharing knowledge, inculcating values of life, spark the innovative horizons of mind. Fun and frolic is the nature of every nook and corner here. A daily dose of thrill we are sure to get here.